Fiction writers complain about the muddy middle of their story all the time. Or they say, I've written myself into a corner. Stay tuned for 4 tips to boost your plot so you will never say those things and you will write to the end. Let's talk plot. So plot is, as you know, the external events of your story, the thing that moves the action forward, drives your character into their situation, whatever it is, so that they will grow and change. So notice the question, what can I do to make things harder for my character right now? Most of the time, we as authors are too kind to our characters. We want everything to turn out perfectly for them. We want it just to be sunshine and roses and everyone's happy and isn't that fantastic? And they make the right choices and yada, 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 yawn. Okay, we need to make things harder for the character. So if you're stuck, ask yourself that. What could happen right now in the story to make things even harder for my character? All right. So here's some tips for that. Consider moving to a new location that can add conflict or obstacles. So say they're trying to have a private conversation, but they're in the middle of the coffee shop that's crowded, that's packed, or someplace else, a setting that adds conflict. Okay, adds obstacles for them. Or bring in a new character. Now, when I say new character, it doesn't mean you have to add a character to your story. That's what I'm talking about. But bring a new character into the scene, someone who wasn't there before, that has conflicting goals or motivations from your main character. So they are going to be pushing back against them and making it more difficult for your character to get whatever it is they want at that moment in that scene. So, one way to do this, and this is actually an idea from my favorite craft book, Plot and Structure, or one of my favorite craft books, Plot and Structure by James Scott Bell. And he suggests that you make a list of obstacles, no matter how outlandish they might seem, that could possibly happen to your story, to your character right now in the story, or at some other time in the story, okay? List them all out. And then he says, don't choose the most obvious one or the top 3. Choose one that is a lot less obvious. You haven't seen it done in 18 books that you've read. Yes, tropes are a great thing. And writing into what your reader expects is great. But a lot of times it can help, it bogs down your plot when it feels stale for you. But if you try something new, something unexpected, then that would stimulate your creativity and help you be able to move on forward and start writing again. Now, this last tip really doesn't have to do about writing on the story itself, but about unsticking your creative juices. Because a lot of times when we get stuck, it's just because the creativity is not really flowing right then. And what I found is that writing prompts can really help jumpstart your creativity and generate some fresh ideas. So a lot of times when I use writing prompts, and you can find these online anywhere, type in writing prompts, be specific, type in writing prompts for your genre if you want to. They will come up, you will find them. But what I find a lot of times is I'll say, okay, I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to write for 15 minutes using this writing prompt. And usually by the time that ends, I have gotten an idea of something to happen in my story. Even if it's not the next scene I was planning to write, it's a little bit farther along. So what they do is they just jumpstart your creativity, and once you get moving, once the water starts flowing, then the ideas for your actual story and where you're at can come out. So boost your plot by taking your characters to a new place that has obstacles and conflict, or bringing in another character that will create conflict for them. Make a list of the possible obstacles or events in your story, and then don't choose the most likely one. And 4th, writing prompts can stimulate your creativity and give you new plot ideas. So, are you ready to write on your story? I hope so, because your story matters.